Welcome back. Time to go global now. President Donald Trump has signed legislation ending the longest government shutdown in the United States history, hours after the House of Representatives voted to restart disrupted food assistance, pay hundreds of thousands of federal workers, and revive a hobbled air traffic control system. The Republican-controlled chamber passed the package by a vote of 222 to 209, with Trump's support largely keeping his party together in the face of vehement opposition from House Democrats, who are angry that a long standoff launched by their Senate colleagues failed to secure a deal to extend federal health insurance subsidies. Trump's signature on the bill, which cleared the Senate earlier in the week, will bring federal workers idled by the 43-day shutdown back to their jobs, starting as early as Thursday, that's today, although just how quickly full government services and operations will resume is really unclear at this time. The deal extends funding through January 30, leaving the federal government on a path to keep adding about $1.8 trillion a year to its $38 trillion in debt. Swiss Economy Minister is set to meet the United States Trade Representative Jamison Greer for trade talks. That's today. The Swiss government said that the negotiations to lower President Donald Trump's crippling tariffs enter a crucial phase. Switzerland is trying to negotiate a reduction in import tariffs of 39% on its goods that President Trump imposed in August. And also, the Prime Minister there flew to Washington with Helen Bodler, head of the State Secretariat for Economic Affairs, who appeared quite optimistic when set off in a government aircraft. And then the Swiss government did not provide further details on the ongoing talks, but they had described it as very constructive, a conversation that the pair had with Greer on a video telephone, and a deal to lower the tariff to 15% could be arranged in the next week or two, according to their spokesperson, although it still needed a final sign-off from President Trump. The Office for National Statistics in the United Kingdom, in its preliminary report, has published that the United Kingdom's gross domestic product, that's the GDP, declined by 0.1% in September. This is coming in lower than analysts had predicted. Quarterly GDP growth slowed to 0.1, down from 0.3 in the previous quarter, reflecting mounting economic pressures annually. The economy expanded by 1.3% on the annual basis. The production sector led the slowdown, falling 0.5%, while the services sector rose 0.2%, and construction grew by 0.1%. And they said there are no changes to the headline real GDP quarter-on-quarter growth across 2024 and 2025 as a result of this update. In Japan, the yen dipped to record low versus the euro and wallowed near a 9-month through against the dollar on Thursday after Japan's new prime minister said that she wanted the central bank to go slow on interest rate hikes. Japanese Prime Minister had on Wednesday expressed her administration's preference for interest rates to stay low and asked for close coordination with the Bank of Japan. She also has asked the BOJ governor to report regularly to Government Council on economic and fiscal policy. Following this, of course, the Australian dollar has climbed to a 2-week high after official data showed a steeper drop in the unemployment rate from a recent 4-year high than economists had forecast, and that reduces the possibility of further rate cuts in that country. The yen dipped to unprecedented 179.50 compared to the euro earlier today, before bouncing back to 179.25. The Japanese currency slipped to as low as 155.01 per dollar, putting it just a whisker away from Wednesday's trough of 155.05, a level not seen since early February, and then it slightly went lower than that. And then in India, the country has revised its royalty rates for a number of critical minerals, including graphite and zirconium. And the change comes as part of the government's efforts to promote domestic mining and reduce dependence on imports. Under the new system, royalties on high-carbon graphite will be charged at 2% of sale prices determined by the Indian Bureau of Mines instead of a fixed per ton value. Meanwhile, as the global demand for clean energy materials grows, India is stepping up its effort to secure critical mineral supply chains. The country is a small producer of most critical minerals, including graphite, of which it currently imports about 60% of its needs. To reduce this dependence on imports from China, who dominates the global processing market, the Prime Minister there is looking to attract private and foreign investment into the mining projects.